Hello and welcome to Ly Tu Tieu _audio, where heartfelt, emotional stories come to life through powerful narration. In today's video, we follow a heartbreaking turning point in Ly Tu Tieu's journey, a girl who once dreamed of reuniting with her birth mother after 20 long years, only to be rejected and driven away by her own sister. Is there a hidden truth behind the DNA result? Has her life taken an unexpected turn? Let's dive into this emotional chapter and discover the answers together. For as long as she could remember, Ly Tu Tieu had always carried a quiet ache in her heart. It was the kind of emptiness that couldn't be filled by time or success. Though she had made a modest life for herself, opening a small bakery tucked away in a quiet town, there was a space inside her that longed for something deeper. A mother's embrace. A voice calling her by name. A family she had never known. She had grown up in an orphanage, with only a faded letter and a name, her mother's name, as the last thread connecting her to her past. That letter, worn and tear-stained, mentioned only regret, love, and the promise of reunion when the time is right. Now, years later, Ly Tu Tieu was no longer a child. She had saved every coin she earned from selling bread and pastries, determined to search for her mother. Her journey took her across villages and cities, guided only by scattered memories and faint rumors. People she met would offer directions, stories, and sometimes mere sympathy. But she never gave up. One day, at a rural clinic where she had gone to deliver cakes to nurses and patients for free, an old woman stared at her for a long moment. The woman's hands trembled, and her voice was shaky. You look like someone I used to know. Your eyes, they look just like hers." That one sentence rekindled a fire in Ly Tu Tieu's heart. She stayed in that town, asking around until someone pointed her to a quiet neighborhood at the edge of a hill. There, in a humble house shaded by old trees, lived a woman named Mrs. Chen, who had once given birth to a daughter she believed was gone forever. The first meeting between Ly Tu Tieu and Mrs. Chen was quiet but intense. When Mrs. Chen saw the faded letter in Ly Tu Tieu's hand, her expression changed. She reached out to touch the edge of the page with trembling fingers. This is my handwriting. This is my letter." Tears welled up in the woman's eyes. Ly Tu Tieu knelt before her. "I've been looking for you for so long, Mom." And just like that, the years of longing, the empty birthdays, and the unanswered prayers all collapsed into one moment of fragile joy. Mrs. Chen hugged her, sobbing. "My child. I thought I lost you forever." They spent the next few days together. Ly Tu Tieu helped around the house, cooked meals, and even baked her mother's favorite cakes. It felt too good to be true. But not everyone welcomed her return. Just as Ly Tu Tieu began to settle into this new family life, her world shifted again. The woman's other daughter, Chunhua, returned from abroad. She was stylish, confident, and cold-eyed. The moment she saw Ly Tu Tieu, her lips curled in disbelief. "She's the housemaid?" Chunhua asked, dropping her expensive suitcase by the door. Mrs. Chen shook her head gently. "She's your sister." Chunhua laughed, sharp and bitter. "What kind of joke is this?" From that moment, tension filled the house. Chunhua never accepted Ly Tu Tieu. She spoke down to her, criticized her every move, and mocked her background. Ly Tu Tieu tried to stay kind, even apologizing for things she never did. But nothing seemed enough. One evening, Chunhua threw a DNA test result on the table. "Read it," she said coldly. "You are not Mom's biological daughter." The paper confirmed it, no biological match. Mrs. Chen was silent. Shocked. Hurt. Confused. Ly Tu Tieu felt her world crumble. All this time, she believed. She hoped. She trusted that the letter was real. That the memories she clung to meant something. Chunhua stepped closer. "You don't belong here. You're nothing but a liar. Get out." Mrs. Chen didn't say a word. She didn't stop her. And so, with trembling hands and teary eyes, Ly Tu Tieu packed her few belongings and walked away. Outside, the rain began to fall. Cold droplets ran down her face, mixing with her tears. She had nowhere to go. The bakery was far away, her heart even farther. But inside her, something flickered. A voice. A strength. No matter what this paper says, she whispered to herself, I am not a mistake. The truth. I'll find it. She remembered the letter, her only proof. If that wasn't written by Mrs. Chen, then who wrote it? And why? She remembered the old woman at the clinic who recognized her eyes. Was there another connection? And what if, just what if, there was more to this story? What if someone didn't want her to find out who she really was? As the rain poured and thunder rolled above her, Ly Tu Tieu began walking again, not back to the bakery, not to hide, but forward. Into the unknown. Into the truth. Because even when the world turned its back on her, she refused to abandon herself. She walked away slowly, each step heavy, but her eyes were dry. Not a single tear rolled down her cheeks, not because she wasn't hurting, but because she had long grown used to hiding her pain. From childhood to this very moment, she had learned to swallow sorrow in silence. No one had ever stood up for her. No one had ever reached out when she needed it most. The woman who was supposed to be her mother had turned her away. Her sister, who should have offered an embrace, had driven her out like a stranger. Even the DNA result felt like a betrayal. Was it truly real? Or was there something more beneath the surface, a truth carefully buried, a secret no one dared speak? As the last light of the house faded behind her, Ly Tu Tieu clutched her coat tighter around her. The bakery she had worked so hard to build was now behind her, and ahead, nothing was certain. She had nowhere to go, but one thing was clear, she couldn't give up now. Not after coming this far. She looked up at the night sky, drawing strength from the stars above. Somewhere out there, the truth was waiting. Maybe she wasn't that woman's daughter, but then, whose child was she? Why had she been left alone for so long? And why did her heart still ache every time she heard the word mother? She would find the answers. She had to. Where would she go? What would she do next? Would someone finally open their arms to her? Or would she continue this journey alone? The road ahead was uncertain, but her heart still held hope. She wasn't walking away in defeat, she was stepping forward in search of something greater. And that, dear viewer, is where we leave her, for now. What awaits Ly Tu Tieu on the next chapter of her journey? Could there be a hidden truth behind the DNA result? Is there someone silently watching her steps, pulling the strings from behind the curtain? Don't miss what happens next in her story. Ly Tu Tieu walked away in silence, not because she wasn't hurt, but because she had grown up never knowing the warmth of a true family. Still, she chose to believe. To move forward. To uncover the truth that remains hidden. Will she find out who she truly is? Is someone secretly pulling the strings? And where does she truly belong? Don't forget to subscribe and follow Ly Tu Tieu _audio to stay updated on the next chapters in Ly Tu Tieu's tearful yet hopeful journey. See you in the next video.